World of Warcraft is for the most part a pretty tame game. However, there are instances of dark and creepy things that can be found scattered throughout it. Today, we'll take a look at 5 of these instances, so without any further ado, let's just hop into it. Number 1. The Sludge Fields. This quote-unquote farm can be found in present-time Hillsbrad foothills. However, right away you can tell it's different than most farms, having guard towers up with searchlights constantly scanning the grounds. On closer inspection, you can see gas fills the area, and that their crops are mushrooms and humans. Now, they aren't really farming the humans, but they are doing experiments with them and trying different ways to make the most absolute zombie that will listen and do anything without question. If they die during these experiments, however, their body parts are harvested and then used to create nasty creatures. So, in a way, I guess it is farming them. Anyhow, the reason why this farm is so under wraps is because Warden Stillwater, the man in charge, has not only been experimenting with humans, but also other undead. The punishment for experimenting on other undead is true death, so this is why you see him go into great lengths to make sure evidence is destroyed and no one leaves the farm. Number 2. Now, I know this one is super well known, but since we were on the topic of undead, I had to include it. Thaddeus from Naxxramas. This boss is actually a creation from the Scourge itself, probably ordered by Kel'Thuzad. He is crafted by the collected skins of women and children that had been harvested by Scourge invasions. All of their souls are bound together in this monstrosity of flesh. Their screams and plights can actually be heard within the raid itself. Number 3. The Fallen Soldiers in Blasted Lands. Up top the Rise of the Defiler in Blasted Lands, you can see a group of people seemingly frozen where they died. Weapons still in hand, most look up in horror as they meet their final moment. Some cower in fear. Number 4. Dr. Weevil. Now, if you did do the Scepter questline during Vanilla or Classic, you may be familiar with this doctor, as he was needed in the questline. You probably ran in, killed him, got the item, and then dipped out to continue the questline. However, if you take a deeper look into the whole situation surrounding him, it makes this island a little bit more creepy. For one, you cannot fly on this island. It's a strict no-fly zone. He also has guards everywhere around the island, securing that no one gets in and no one gets out. But most importantly and creepiest of all is his minions, all sporting the same goggles as he himself. The island is also littered with slimes with the name former intern. Running into the buildings on the island, you find his minions working on various tasks, one of which being other gnomes. Now, I'd like to say that these gnomes are just sleeping and that maybe Weevil has them in a deep, almost meditative state, but they can just straight up be dead as well. Venturing down into the prison, you actually find torture devices and bones scattered throughout it. So what exactly is Weevil doing here? It's very clear that he controls his minions through these goggles that they wear, but why is he specifically working on gnomes? And what's his end goal with all of these experiments? Number 5. The Sands of Tanaris. Tanaris is a fairly decent sized zone, and you can find stories littered throughout it. Not specifically written out stories, but the leftovers of what happened long ago. You can see the trails of those who have left Gadgetzan to explore in the desert, most of these trails telling the story of failed adventurers, or some even stopping abruptly with no trails leading backwards. They simply stopped. You can also find graves littered throughout the zone, along with a crashed zeppelin, and of course you have the giant bones of creatures that had once lived here scattered throughout the entire zone. Tanaris is filled with death, and it is constantly thrown in your face as you quest here, but you probably didn't even notice or didn't even pay any attention to it. Either way, the stories that happen in this place, and not knowing the full context but merely the aftermath of said stories, is quite eerie to say the least. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit that like button. It really does help me as a content creator, and sub if you want to see more. Make sure to have a good day, and peace.